Welcome back to Ultimate Alchemy, and I've been building this smeltery a little bit more. Why don't we go and take a look at some of the improvements, and you can take a look yourself. So first of all, I moved the translocator underneath, so now it feeds from this crate straight into the controller, so all of our stuff gets sent in there. On top now, we've got a mechanical user pointing at the controller with a wand of acceleration. It has some speed upgrades. You can have a maximum of 4, I think. It will use up more power essentially as soon as you add those. So I'm going to go into those in a little while, but this makes essentially melting things down very, very quick, and also waiting for its alloy very quick. So if we just grab some, let's say that's 3, 6, and 6 stacks of iron. So 6 stacks of glass, 6 stacks of iron, or thereabouts. And if we put those in, you'll see what I mean in a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's already starting. You can see it's coming down very, very quickly. It's simultaneously melting and alloying. And it's alloying into silver. You know, if you look around on this side, I've made some changes. I was actually just putting them into these casting basins, if you remember. But now I've created a storage drawer system, or at least a very, very basic one. We won't be using storage drawers for very long, at least not for the main system. Underneath here, I put a storage drawer controller, and I connected that with oak trim to here. And all underneath, essentially, this block and this block, all the way around, apart from one block, is this oak trim. This extends the storage drawer controller out to all of these places. And then, to actually feed into the storage drawer controller, you place a controller slave underneath. Instead of the crates that we had, controller slaves, and it'll just go, if they're recognized, because I've just locked all of these, they'll go into essentially whichever one of these I store. So silver would go into here. But we don't want to be using silver directly like that. Silver is used to make the next ingredient that we want to make, which is this. It's called quartz enriched iron. And you make that by pouring silver over an iron block. So if we've got, we don't actually have enough iron. Let me just grab 9 of you now. Okay, and we're just going to put those in some crafting grids that I've put down. There we go. So we get an entire stack of blocks of iron. And if you have a look here, this setup is built to essentially do the next step. So what we've got here is a flat filter node that pulls from this. Okay, so it pulls it straight into the casting basin. And then I've got a translocator here, not sped up with glowstone, because it tends to do it too fast if I do that. It tends to pull all of the silver from inside the smeltery into that basin before it can actually insert a block of iron. And once you pour the two together, if I click here, you'll see it is making well, quartz infused iron, and it's doing so quite fast with this mechanical user doing the same thing. Now, covering these speed upgrades, first of all, I've done this in Stoneblock recently, so I didn't want to do it on camera. Make a resonator, straightforward recipe. We've got all of that pretty much. No real problem there. And a manual mill, and that's just redstone torches essentially. And then you basically right click and hold. Well, you just right click and it just starts doing. You don't need to hold it down. And in the resonator, then you want to put in various items. You want to put in some redstone. You'll get some quartz back, or black quartz, I should say. And you'll put in some stone. What's it called? Polished stone, I think it's called. Just grab a stack here, you'll see what I mean in a second. Stone bricks, and then polished stone. Yeah. If we put that in there, it starts producing, or it will when you're using the manual mill, and mine has now got another method of providing power. It will produce stonebird. And you can use both of those to make mills. Now, I've chosen to make water mills. You can use lava mills, but they're not quite as power producing. And I've just done a quick setup, very much like the very similar to the one in Stoneblock, just to create some GP. We've got about 80 GP available. And then we're able to use that to power anything that requires it. In particular, these. So we need to make these speed upgrades. They are they're quite easy to craft now that we've got gold. Speed upgrades are here. Those two are obviously obvious. And then upgrade bases are just weighted pressure plates. Again, gold ones, again in the resonator. So as soon as you start putting these in though, it will start using up GP and everything else will stop being sped up if you run out of GP. So things like your furnace won't go as fast and everything else. You'll see I've put speed upgrades here as well. I'm not using them universally, just wherever it makes sense. In particular, the smeltery, I mean, you can already see it's already empty, and that was like 6 stacks of iron. And yeah, so it does get used up quite fast. So why we the other thing, by the way, is that you can do the same thing with stone blocks and pour iron on top. Now that makes iron ore, which is why I've got iron ore here. It may seem weird that I would be losing things by converting iron back into iron ore and then processing it. But we don't really want iron out of that. We want nickel. And that's the only starting way of getting nickel, as far as I know anyway, is to put that through a pulverizer. Before I move on to pulverizers and thermal expansion, I want to get quickly looking at water. I cut it down the tank here. I showed you the recipe last episode. Straightforward to make. However, to get water itself, you need to head into forestry a little bit, if I remember rightly. Yep. Yep, forestry. So I made a squeezer. Again, very simple recipe, so I don't want to do that on camera. I'm just covering the start of this episode. And it's all regular recipes kind of stuff. We've already auto-making pistons, so that's not a problem. And in the squeezer, just feeding wood. So I've just got manually at the moment, I think. Yeah, I haven't put any kind of automatic wood feed in there. Wood then gets squeezed and turned into water. Water with this liquid translocator gets extracted into an ender tank. And then behind here, I've got a coal generator. The coal generator will power the squeezer. Coal generators, again, are very, very simple. Oh, there's a RF Tools one. Interesting. This one, the only thing it needs is black quartz. And black quartz comes from smelting crushed black quartz, which is the thing you get in the resonator. You put some redstone in, and you get some crushed black quartz out. And that, you can just basically make a coal generator and just basically shove it right next to, in this case, my charcoal that's making my lava buckets, and put a flat filter in between the two just to pull straight into the coal generator. So that makes a little bit of power, enough to certainly power the squeezer, enough to make water, and that means that I can just cart around the ender tank with wherever I want water. And I can just grab, well, it's essentially infinite water, but I need to feed in some wood if I want that to be infinite. There's probably better ways of making water. I couldn't find a sink for like the stone block. It's not in here, unfortunately. But there is things like an aqueous accumulator, which will make automatic water. There we go, thermal expansion. Straightforward to make that as well. It just isn't fast by default. It tends to be a little bit slow to start, unless it's been improved in recent years. So for the moment, the squeezer will do just fine. It's not like I'm piping it in anywhere. So that was just the quick things that I've done, just to really improve things a little bit, get us to another fluid that we can use, get the smeltery much improved. Obviously, it's huge now, or it's not very huge, but I can keep going up if I need to. Obviously, I can put 12 stacks of things in there, and it doesn't even fill it. So yeah, we should be fine. Right, now what I want to get onto this episode is to get into refined storage. I like storage drawers for mass storage of single items, especially the compacting drawers. They are cool, but I don't particularly like it for huge systems. You know, entire walls of stuff. It's doable, but it looks pretty, but at the same time, it's not very easy to work around. You tend to need massive rooms and stuff like that. So instead, we want to look at refined storage. So refined storage is very, very similar to E02 in terms of the sort of recipes that you need. You need disk drives, you need a controller, and you need the same as a crafting terminal in AE2 is a crafting grid in refined storage. So to make those, we're going to start off with silicon. And to get silicon, we're going to need to make a pulverizer. You see I've got lots of components here. We can swap some of these out because there are different thermal expansion machines, but I'm going to make a couple of pulverizers just in case. I wonder what, let's see, flux duct. This lead. How hard is it to make lead? If it's hard to make lead, I don't want to worry about it for now. Rather helpfully, well, is there different lead ingots? Unfortunately, the recipes for there is. The recipes for smelting is only on one of the. Yeah, there we go. We may as well look at molten and then the name of the name of the metal in future rather than just looking at the ingot. So alloying, obsidian, and iron gets us lead. Okay, so we may as well just do some of that because we've got some of that going. Let's just grab stack of. Ooh, I've only got 6. Ah, that's why. That's fine. We've got 984 and a stack of iron. Yeah, we'll put another stack in there, that's fine. And make sure all your translocators are off. This one will feed in automatically. This one's already got gold in it, but this one will feed in. However, because I've not got any lead already, it may not actually feed in until I place the first block into the system because it's locked. So if I just, where's my key? Put it in one of these crates probably. Yeah, there it is. Let's just unlock one. Let's just unlock you. And then let's feed this in. So 1, 2. Whoops, that was not what I wanted. I need another 14. There we go. You're already done. Okay, and oh no, that's still iron. Have you not finished? Why haven't you finished? Oh, I've miscalculated. Okay, so let's just move that. I'm gonna need more iron in there. See how fast it actually goes now. It's probably because obsidian makes more. So let's just actually put all of that in. We can always get rid of the iron later. There it goes. I probably need even more iron here, but that will do for now. Let me just actually overcompensate and make sure we are only left with iron in there, because that can go straight into the storage drawer system on all by itself, essentially. Oops, I can just put it in here, can I? There we go. Okay, let's not worry about that. And we can now start this up. There it goes. That's lead. So lead should appear. And it already has. So we can just relock that drawer. Okay, and do I have any light? It's a little bit dim around here. I do actually want to eventually make Ender IO painted blocks, or painted glowstone in particular. And why are there torches around? What? I am making them in here somewhere. I know that much. There we go. Let's get a stack of torches. Just light up this. It's a little bit dark over here. There we go. And around behind. All right. Where were we? Yes, so we're making lead. So we can now make flux duct. Let's just get a stack of lead. And what else did it need? I don't think it needed much else. Flux duct. Glass and redstone. Have I got some redstone? Yes, I do. And I just need some glass. Incidentally, glass is one of the slow ones. That's why I've also put this mechanical user here, speeding glass up. And it's now really, it's as fast as we can supply sand to it, essentially. So that also depends on us providing... Ooh, we're out of pickaxes. Probably because I haven't supplied it with something. I'll go back to that later. No big deal. So let's make that flux duct. So let's just make some. There we go. 54 of it should do. So we've got a pulverizer. We're also going to need another coal generator, because we're going to need some fuel. We need another iron casing, which is some black quartz. And I usually have some black quartz hanging around. If not, I think I'll put it in the cooking up. Here we are. Yeah, black quartz. And let's put you here, some iron casings. Let's make 3 of those. And let's then make the... Oh, we need a little bit of charcoal. But we've got loads of charcoal, so that's not a problem. I should leave these recipes in the crafting grids, but there we go. Coal generator. And we're going to want a some way of feeding fuel to it. You don't have to put coal in it, despite the name, which means that we can just grab some wood and feed wood into it instead. Obviously, it's not quite as good, but since we have infinite wood, it's not really a problem. Let's look at an item barrel. There we go. And now we can feed a system with power, and particularly one of our pulverizers. I'm going to put them over here for now, and we'll sort something else out later. In fact, I can probably skip the flux duct entirely just by temporarily putting that in the middle and putting one either side. Although it won't last for long, so obviously I'll move that probably off camera. Yep, that'll do. And then we want to just... Well, can we actually... Well, we're probably going to need a flat filter, aren't we? Or a hopper. What a hopper would even do here if we don't have to be too special. I do hate the bugginess of these flat filters, but I do like the fact that they only occupy one block. So, yep, there you go. So there goes the bug. Okay, we've got rid of it. And let's just feed in wood. There it goes. It should burn the wood and should produce power. There we go. We've got power on either side. So now the pulverizer is going to be used to pulverize sand. And sand, we've got plenty of, 2,000 of. That will produce silicon, which is one of the main ingredients we're going to need for our refined storage system. Because it needs processors, just like AE2. However, it's much more simple than AE2 in terms of how you make them. So let's just look at the refined storage stuff. Refined storage. Refined. So the controller is sort of the first block that you absolutely need. Or at least we're going to absolutely need. So that needs all that silicon we're talking about. It needs a machine casing. So that's chisel, stone, well, just stone, and lots of quartz enriched iron. So we're going to want... how much do I have any quartz enriched iron? No, let's just go and get some. Put you back. And let's get a couple of stacks of you. 3 stacks, that should do. Note, I've also taken out the ice blocks that are underneath here because I'm using stone slabs. I was still sliding around all over the place because it still takes in the ice block underneath. So I've just removed those. In fact, let's just put them away so I don't lose them. I may want to build something with them later. So ice pillars and different types of ice pillars. Yeah, they're underneath us, or they were. Now they're not. So quartz enriched iron, and I want some stone, don't I? So let's just make that to start off with. Stone. Okay, so machine casings. Let's actually just make a few. We've got more than enough, so let's just make 8. We're not going to need 8 anytime soon, but that's okay. And then we just need processors. Now, advanced processors, and pretty much every processor, it comes back to needing a cutting tool, which is straightforward. And then you need to make a combination of redstone, cut silicon, obviously that's why we're making silicon, and it's just, you know, cutting tool and silicon, and then something else. Now, this statue of the thinker is, yeah, it's just a chisel and some stone. So we just need to make a chisel, so that is straightforward, and then we can just get some stone and convert those over. So if I just make that, oh, they don't stack. Oh no. Oh dear. Let me just put all of them away for now. We're probably going to want to automate that. I want something that that basically produces these automatically. So in here, yes, each processor is going to require some sort of arrangement like this, and there is another arrangement for different things. So if we just go to the grid, and then eventually the crafting grid, which is just an extra processor, you'll see there's construction cores which are very, very simple with a basic processor. The basic processor is just iron in place of that statue of the thinker, and everything else is the same. And then there is also a improved processor, which is the same thing apart from gold. So you can imagine that we only need sort of the same sort of recipe, and we need to feed in stuff to this. So I think I'm going to set that up with some mechanical crafters, because although I'm not going to need, well, I may not need many to start, having them available automatically is a good thing. So we'll do that off camera, and we'll come back once I show you the setup. And here we are. Don't panic. It is fairly simple, but as always, these look intimidating when we get started. So let's start from the right-hand end. We're going to make those thinker statues first. Relatively straightforward. Here's the recipe. We just need some stone and some chisels. and you'll see we've got all the statues in the output. Now, chisels, well, the stone, we just put an item barrel on the top. Chisels, we can go around the back. Sorry, go down a little bit. Can I actually get to... Oh, no, sorry, we're going right. Yeah, we're going right. So, chisels going to come from the right. That just needs some iron and some sticks. Iron, we can just make renewably. Well, not renewably, but infinitely. And sticks, we're just going to produce upwards from this into this. So, that combines to make chisels, goes into here. This combines to make statues, which goes into that next crafting unit right there. This takes up a full block space of my cursor, even though it doesn't look like it. So yeah, there is thinkers going into that. So if we just go around the back here, yep, you'll see all those ingredients are there. Now the rest of it is a cutting tool, cut silicon and redstone. Let's start with the cutting tool first of all. I have done previously like I did for the pickaxes, put mini chests here for all of these 6 mechanical crafters because they all need cutting tools. And we're just making cutting tools back here with just quartz, sticks, well, quartz enriched iron. And the quartz enriched iron is just coming from this particular thing here, which I'm out of. So I need to just grab some more. I need some more anyway, so let's just make sure I put a stack or 2 in there. And that should start it back up again. It is. It's producing cutting tools, which are then going into the mini chests. Okay, so let's then address what then is happening with those. Each of these processors needs the same recipe, roughly. It needs cutting tools, it needs redstone, it needs something else, and it needs cut silicon. Cut silicon, we can go from one above it. Silicon and cutting tools, again, that's why the cutting tools are coming into here, excuse me. And then above that, we're making the silicon. Silicon's quite easy. Back here we've got some basically infinite wood going into coal generators, which are on the back of the pulverizers. Yes, I probably can get away with less than this, but this just means I've got one dedicated for each pulverizer. And the pulverizers are taking in from the top sand. I'm not producing that automatically because it requires pickaxes and bowls. I'm just going to feed in some sand at the top for now. And they export at the bottom into this buffer, which is for the silicon. And the reason there's a buffer is so that they don't import and fill this inventory with silicon. I want to keep it so that these will pull whenever they need it from this buffer. And you'll see they're pulling straight away pretty much. That leaves only a couple of things. For each one of these recipes, we need iron, the middle one needs gold, the right one needs thinkers, but they also need redstone, and we're not... Because I've built this compact, I needed 4 sides for this, and the top and the bottom are both in use. One making cut silicon, the bottom is for basically the furnace, and then I've only got a few other sides. Now, on this left one, I could, if I wanted to, make an infinite iron stack here, that would work. The middle one, however, requires gold, so I just haven't bothered. I've just put 3 crates in front of them, and just insert iron and redstone to this one, gold and redstone into this one, and this one actually just needs redstone. I don't think it needs anything else. So you could, I guess, just put a basic drawer there instead. I've just left it as a crate, it's fine. And then we're producing basically processors in the bottom, because we're feeding them into a furnace. We're using flat filters to flat transfer nodes even to basically pull them pull them out of the furnace once they're burnt or cooked and into these. So you'll see I've already built up over a stack apart from this end one, which is less than a stack. Just because I forgot to fill it up with redstone. Let's put more of them in there. So we're now ready pretty much to start refined storage, because these are the main 3 components that you need in refined storage. And I'm happy with the sort of semi-automated thing. I just need to make sure I put more sand in the top. And I'm just going to grab quite a bit more sand, fill my inventory in fact, and then I will just, let's just actually put it all in there and do the same thing again. And that should keep it going for silicon at least, and then we just need to make sure we keep it supplied with iron and redstone. Ready for the good bit. So let's just grab a stack of each of you, and let's just grab whatever we have of you. And now we've got 3 processor types. So let's get into the refined storage then. We want a controller first of all, and that is... Yes, I did. I got my machine casings. So I just want one controller, and let's just put all the back. And then I also want a crafting grid, which needs a regular grid, which needs a construction core. Let's actually make a few of them, I guess. 8. Well, let's say 10 then. And we actually need some redstone for the other bit of that, the equivalent of annihilation cores. I don't think they're called, I think they're probably called destroyer cores or something like that. It's so blatantly like E02. It's destruction cores. There we go, not annihilation cores. You just need some redstone instead. Oh, made an even amount, so that's going to annoy me. Even amounts. There we go. And then we can make the crafting, well, a grid, and let's just make one of those. I don't want to use up too much. And from there, a crafting grid. I'm just going to need a crafting station. That's straightforward. There we go. Or crafting grid in general. There we go. One crafting grid. And then we're going to need a disk drive. So disk drives are, again, quite straightforward now that we've got this. I'll make 2 of those, although I'm not probably going to need them to start off with. And then we're going to need a disk. Or at least one disk. Now, just like in AE2, they have different sizes. I'm not sure if for Provide storage it's worthwhile keeping with the smaller disks. So if we step up to larger disks by default, that might be nice. We're going to want to auto-craft these, of course, with mechanical crafters, but for now I just want to make at least one disk just to get started. So it looks like I'm going to want a lot of the 1K disks, and they require, well, I'm going to need more than that, aren't I? What am I short of? I'm short of silicon to make more. Yes, upgrading your world. Silicon. I've upgraded this, so we're now using the redstone. The redstone flux duct. It's coming from the back of the coal generator. We're actually going to need more coal generators. It's oh, hang on, is it keeping up? No, it's not keeping up. So yeah, that's why over there I had one of these per pulverizer. So I may well do that actually and move it down here, move another one here, and then put the infinite wood thing in between them, and then we can get rid of the flux duct again. So yeah, that's fine. It's actually just taking sand from this box and then producing it into silicon. So we don't have a huge amount of silicon yet, but it's going to take time for it to build up, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Let's just go back to the 1K storage, and reinsert those. Let's see how many we can make now. We can make 39. So let's go for so it's 3 for the next tier. So 9, 20. Let's try 27 and see how far that gets us. And I normally off when I calculate these, but it's fine. We've got inventory space and stuff to spare. So 64K, isn't it? 64K. Can we make one? I don't want a fluid storage disk. Let's just make our... Ooh, we need some basic processors, but we should have some of those. So we've got 9. Good. And then... Whoops. Can we make a 16K? We can make 3 16Ks. Good. This is looking good. And we can make 64K storage part, which we also need to make a storage housing. Let's actually make a few of those because they're quite common. And there we go. And then we can make a 64K storage disk. There we go. We've got one going. And I'm not sure if it's just miscellaneous. I'm going to actually look that up and see whether... I don't think there's a... Well, it doesn't indicate there's any kind of types to consider. So maybe it's just 64,000 items. If it is, then we're just making 64K storage disks. There's no two ways about it. What was I going to say? Right, now we've got those. We need some more coal generators. Did I make a pattern down here anywhere? I don't think I did. We want coal generators because they're relatively easy to make. Yeah, I think I may have already put some in. Did I not make some? Ah, I did. There we go. Coal generator. And we're also going to want more infinite wood, just as a matter of basically the fuel for this. And I think I'm going to make something that makes infinite wood blocks. They're kind of useful, certainly in this pack. So having lots of chests available, and then yeah, let's just make all of the infinite wood there. All of the infinite wood. Okay, so we're ready to put this down somewhere. I think I'm going to reuse this block. I kind of like the decoration here. So let's just get rid of our infinite cobblestone. There we go. And maybe for now, if I put the controller here, I'm going to lose that block. Let's put the controller here. And then underneath, let's pop down. And for now, maybe a direct insertion of power? Depends if it needs more than this, but if it needs more than this, we can always put more of these generators around and redstone flux and stuff like that. And then, can I ever remember which way around this is? It will be that way around. If I put then the... Oops, I need to go in and out of my inventory. That actually causes the bug to go away. So whatever you place on them down, in and out of your inventory, and then you're okay, you're golden. And then there's our infinite wood. Will you pull? Yes, you are. Now, so you should be building up... Oh, that's crystal flux. Will you convert? Well, we'll see if he'll convert shortly. Once I put something else down. Oh, it's on, so it looks like it is. Yeah, there we go. And then that means we need to build the rest. Now, I don't think you need anything special, like special cable for it refined. Can you just let it pass through? Let's give it a go. Let's put our disk drive down first. Or, well, maybe more than one eventually, but let's just try it with direct connection first. Oh, looks like it's okay. Oh, so much like E02. So, switch box, JEI synchronized, auto selected, fair enough. Can we put stuff in? You're not letting me put stuff in. Oh, we need a disk drive. That helps. 64K. There we go. Disk drive? Well, it's in. Can we put stuff in now? We can. Okay, so now our system has basically storage capacity. And that means we can then think about some other stuff. For example, I'm not sure how fast these transfer nodes are. It'd be nice to know that, because we're going to be able to use them as an importer essentially into this system. So if I just put one down, and then if we go make an ender chest or two, we can then essentially export everything into the input ender chest, which will go directly into our refined storage rather than into these. I can replace all these with ender chests, or, you know, a transfer node and then an ender chest at the end. That's not terribly fast to start out with, so I may just go with basically ender chests. Ender chests, what have we got there? So let's go for the triple white recipe. We need ender shards, obsidian, gold, and chests. Chests I have. Obsidian is easy. It's around here. Okay, and then I also want some ender shards. Let's get a few of those. And some gold, which is over here. And similarly, I no longer need this storage drawer system if I don't want it. I can get away with, let's actually just put this disk drive down, put it over here. Hopefully you share power and everything else. There we go. Let's grab that gold. And let's make our ender chests. Here we go. Ender chests. That's going to make a lot of ender chests. Yep. And if we go over here then and put one down. How fast are you going to be? Wait. Oh, that's pulling, not pushing. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to pull that. Let's just get rid of you for a second. And the chest takes so long to actually remove. I need better tools as well. So I want to replace that with one of you. And put the ender chest back down. And then put my disc back in. Will you now work? No, you won't. And maybe I can't just push it straight into the disk drive. Maybe it needs to go into a specific block. Never mind, because that, yeah. I don't know why. Because the disk drive is an inventory, it basically wants us to be able to insert disk drives. It's just like the thing in E02 where you can insert disks into a disk drive, or you can insert contents into a disk, which is entirely different. So I need to get some other solution for that. But we're approaching the end of the episode, so I don't want to keep you too much, but we've got a refined storage system. Off camera now, I'm just going to be able to essentially export everything into that system quite easily and replace anything really where we have outputs. So these can all go into the system. All of those can go into the system. Anything coming out of our furnace, well, our smeltery can go into the system. And we'll be happy bunnies, really. And yeah, I quite like where it's placed. Maybe we'll do something else on the wood, decorated area. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We've got quite a bit done. We've got automatic refined storage processors. we've got a refined storage system, we've got a really fast smeltery, and lots of other bits and pieces. If you see anything in here you may want to improve, feel free to comment below. Otherwise, feel free to like if you like the episode, and subscribe, share as you normally would. Follow me on Twitter @GreyDuster if you're having problems with YouTube's notification system with new episodes and stuff like that. And we'll see you next episode for some more Ultimate Alchemy. Yeah, there we go. Let's put you away. And job's done. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bonus footage is just called an importer. Just like the E03 system. So if you're still watching this, it's just fine. And we'll then import into our disk drive. Just wanted to let you know, just so you wasn't leaving you hanging, in case you're following along. Again, thanks for watching, and see you next time.